Buckingham Palace held its breath as Prince William read Queen Elizabeth II's final will, revealing secrets that could forever change the monarchy. Why was he chosen for this monumental task, and what truths had the Queen left behind? Buckingham Palace, often a symbol of unshakable tradition and calm, was charged with an unusual air of tension on the day Queen Elizabeth II's last will was read. The grandeur of the historic room, with its gilded mirrors and antique furniture, felt heavy with anticipation. Family members who had gathered wore expressions that betrayed a mix of curiosity, apprehension, and perhaps even fear. Each person present knew this moment would not only reveal the personal wishes of the beloved monarch, but also potentially reshape the future of the British royal family. The weight of the occasion was palpable. The room, typically a space for dignified gatherings and formal events, became the backdrop for a moment of vulnerability within the royal family. As the golden light filtered through the towering windows, the focus was on a single figure standing near the centre, Prince William. The choice of William to read the Queen's final will was not arbitrary. It reflected the deep bond he shared with his grandmother, who had mentored him for years, preparing him for the immense responsibilities of a future king. It was a testament to the trust she placed in him, not just as her grandson, but as the monarch in waiting. William's role in this pivotal moment highlighted his unique position within the family. As the eldest son of King Charles III and the late Princess Diana, he had long been groomed to carry the weight of the monarchy on his shoulders. Yet this day felt different, even for someone accustomed to public scrutiny and royal duty. The will was more than just a document, it was a deeply personal expression of the Queen's wishes, a culmination of her legacy. The responsibility of revealing its contents fell squarely on William, and the gravity of the task was etched on his face as he prepared to begin. The room was silent as William carefully unfolded the document, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. The first words of the will immediately set the tone. This was not a mere allocation of wealth and titles, but a vision for the monarchy's future. The Queen's careful phrasing hinted at significant changes ahead, leaving the family to brace themselves for what was to come. There was no escaping the significance of the moment. Each line William read carried the weight of history, tradition, and personal sentiment. As the contents of the will began to unfold, the reactions within the room ranged from quiet gasps to subtle nods of understanding. The Queen's decisions were as surprising as they were deliberate, challenging expectations and traditions that had been held for centuries. It was evident that her vision extended beyond her reign, addressing the evolving needs of the monarchy in an era of rapid change. For some, her choices must have been difficult to reconcile with the reality they had anticipated. For others, it may have been a relief to see her thoughtfulness in securing the future of the institution she cherished. The reading of the will became a unifying moment, even as it exposed tensions and uncertainties within the family. There were glances exchanged across the room, some filled with quiet understanding, others carrying hints of concern or surprise. While the royal family is known for their composure in the face of public scrutiny, this was a rare moment of raw emotion behind closed doors. It was a reminder that, beneath the titles and protocols, they too are a family navigating loss and legacy. William's voice, calm and deliberate, guided them through each revelation. His presence provided a sense of steadiness, a reflection of the qualities his grandmother had likely seen in him when she chose him for this role. Yet, even for him, this was an overwhelming experience. The will did not merely reflect the Queen's wishes, it was a roadmap for the future of the monarchy, one that would require the family to adapt and evolve in ways they may not have expected. As the reading progressed, it became clear that this moment was about more than just the division of assets or the distribution of titles. It was about the values and vision that the Queen sought to pass on. Her decisions revealed a thoughtful approach to balancing tradition with progress, ensuring that her legacy would endure while leaving room for the monarchy to grow. The reactions of the family members reflected this understanding. Some appeared visibly moved by her foresight and generosity, while others seemed to wrestle with the implications of her choices. The reading of Queen Elizabeth II's will brought a wave of surprises, but nothing stirred as much intrigue as her decisions regarding royal properties. Among these, Balmoral Castle stood out as a symbol of both tradition and personal sanctuary. For decades, Balmoral was seen as the Queen's private retreat, a place where she could escape the public eye and enjoy time with her family in the serene Scottish Highlands. The castle had become synonymous with her legacy, but her decision regarding its inheritance challenged expectations. Instead of granting Balmoral to a single heir, as many had assumed, the Queen had opted for a more unconventional arrangement. The property was to be shared among several family members, a decision that immediately sparked curiosity and perhaps some tension. Balmoral had always been a deeply personal space, a haven for the Queen and her loved ones. Dividing it among multiple heirs created questions about how it would be managed and whether it could maintain its status as a cohesive retreat for future generations. While the intention may have been to foster a sense of unity within the family, it also introduced the potential for disagreements over its use and upkeep. This decision reflected the Queen's awareness of the complexities of modern family dynamics and her desire to adapt traditional practices to better suit the times. It also served as a reminder of the importance she placed on Balmoral as a symbol of family togetherness, even if it meant challenging the conventions of sole inheritance. The shared ownership was not just about practicality, it was about ensuring that Balmoral remained a meaningful part of the family's life for years to come. Another revelation that caught everyone's attention was the status of Buckingham Palace. While many assume the palace is the private property of the reigning monarch, it is in fact part of the Crown estate. This distinction means that Buckingham Palace is managed as a national asset, not a personal one. The Queen's will underscored this reality, reaffirming its role as a working hub for the monarchy rather than a familial possession. This clarification was significant, as it highlighted the balance between the monarchy's public duties and its private affairs. Buckingham Palace's unique status has always been a source of fascination. Its grandeur and history make it one of the most iconic royal residences in the world, yet its role goes beyond being a home. It is the administrative centre of the British monarchy, hosting state events, receptions, and countless other official functions. The will reinforced the idea that Buckingham Palace's purpose is tied to the Crown, ensuring its preservation and continued use for generations. This approach also aligns with the broader efforts to modernise the monarchy and make it more transparent in its operations. The reconfiguration of royal estates did not end with Balmoral or Buckingham Palace. The Queen's will revealed a broader strategy to redistribute properties in ways that deviated from tradition. Some estates that had long been associated with specific branches of the family were reassigned, reflecting a shift in priorities. These changes were not made lightly. They were the result of careful consideration of what would best serve the monarchy's future. By reallocating estates, the Queen demonstrated her understanding of the financial and symbolic significance of these properties. Her decisions aimed to strengthen the Crown's financial independence while also preserving its historical and cultural legacy. For example, properties that had previously been maintained as private residences were reimagined as public assets or reassigned to support the Crown estate's operations. This shift signalled a departure from purely hereditary practices, favouring a more practical and sustainable approach to managing royal assets. The implications of these decisions were far-reaching. They challenged the traditional expectations of inheritance within the royal family, emphasising the importance of adaptability in a changing world. While some family members may have been surprised or even disappointed by the redistribution, the underlying message was clear: the monarchy must prioritise its role as a public institution over personal interests. This approach not only ensured the long-term stability of the royal family's assets, but also reinforced its commitment to serving the nation. These revelations also sparked public debate about the role of royal properties in modern times. The transparency surrounding the Queen's will provided a rare glimpse into the inner workings of the monarchy and its approach to balancing tradition with progress. It highlighted the careful stewardship required to maintain the Crown's financial and symbolic significance while adapting to the evolving needs of the institution. For Prince William, who played a central role in reading the will, these decisions carried additional weight. As the future king, he would be responsible for overseeing many of these properties and ensuring their continued relevance. The redistribution of estates served as a reminder of the challenges he would face in modernising the monarchy while honouring its rich history. When Queen Elizabeth II's will was read, it wasn't just about properties or titles. It was also a window into the staggering wealth she'd quietly amassed during her reign. While much of the public is familiar with the grandeur of royal estates and the historical significance of crown properties, her fortune had always been a subject of speculation. For decades, the exact scope of her wealth was shrouded in secrecy, with only hints provided by her luxurious lifestyle, valuable collections, and discreet investments. The will revealed that her wealth extended far beyond what anyone had imagined. Art, real estate, and carefully managed investments formed the backbone of her private fortune. The Queen had quietly accumulated an impressive art collection, featuring works by some of history's greatest painters. Pieces by masters such as Rembrandt and Vermeer were not part of the Crown's official holdings, but were privately owned by the Queen, making them even more valuable. These works weren't just investments, they were part of her personal story, reflecting her passion for art and culture. Real estate was another cornerstone of her wealth. Beyond the well-known estates like Balmoral and Sandringham, which were part of her portfolio, the Queen had interests in lesser-known properties. These holdings were scattered across the UK, from cottages in the countryside to urban residences with historical significance. Some of these properties were used by family members, while others were leased out, quietly generating income for her over the years. Combined with shrewd investments in stocks and businesses, her wealth was estimated to be in the hundreds of millions of pounds. When the details of her financial distribution came to light, they painted a picture of both strategic planning and deeply personal choices. Certain family members received substantial inheritances, while others were left with comparatively modest shares. These decisions seem to reflect the Queen's understanding of her family's dynamics and the roles they played within the monarchy. For instance, Prince William, as the future king, was entrusted with significant assets that symbolised continuity and stability for the institution. Meanwhile, other members of the family, particularly those who had stepped back from royal duties, received less. The public reaction to the unveiling of her wealth was a mix of fascination and debate. On one hand, many admired the Queen's ability to manage such a vast fortune with discretion and grace. Her investments and collections reflected a lifetime of careful planning and appreciation for history and culture. On the other hand, some critics questioned the sheer scale of her wealth, raising concerns about royal privilege and accountability. The revelation reignited discussions about the role of the monarchy in modern society and whether such immense personal fortunes should exist alongside the institution's public funding. The transparency provided by the will brought both praise and scrutiny. For supporters of the monarchy, it reinforced the Queen's image as a responsible and forward-thinking leader. Her decisions showcased her commitment to preserving the monarchy's legacy and ensuring its relevance in the years to come. For skeptics, however, it highlighted the disparities between the royal family's wealth and the financial struggles faced by ordinary citizens. These debates weren't new, but the details of her will add fuel to the ongoing conversation about the monarchy's place in contemporary Britain. Beyond the criticism, there was also a sense of admiration for the personal aspects of her financial legacy. Many were touched by the sentimental choices she made, such as leaving cherished heirlooms to specific family members. These items, while not as financially significant as her art or properties, carried emotional weight. They represented her connection to her family and her desire to pass on pieces of her history to the next generation. The revelations about her wealth also placed a spotlight on those who inherited it, particularly King Charles III and Prince William. For Charles, the challenge lay in managing this newfound transparency while balancing his duties as monarch. For William, it marked the beginning of his journey as the future king, with the added responsibility of overseeing the assets entrusted to him. Both men found themselves at the centre of public attention, tasked with upholding the Queen's legacy while navigating the evolving expectations of the monarchy. When it came to the Queen's jewellery collection, the reading of her will revealed much more than just glittering treasures. These pieces carried profound historical significance and personal memories, making their distribution a topic of both fascination and debate. The jewels passed down through generations weren't just symbols of wealth, they were pieces of history, each telling a story of royal legacy and personal sentiment. From iconic tiaras to intimate keepsakes, the Queen's decisions about who would inherit them revealed her thoughtful approach to preserving the monarchy's traditions while reflecting her deep emotional connections. Among the most significant items mentioned was the Vladimir tiara, a dazzling piece with a storied past. Created for the Grand Duchess Vladimir of Russia, the tiara made its way to the British royal family through Queen Mary and later became one of Queen Elizabeth's favourites. Its intricate design and historical significance made it a standout among the Queen's extensive collection. In her will, the tiara was assigned to a specific family member, sparking speculation about why that choice was made. Many believed it was less about favouritism and more about ensuring that the tiara remained tied to the monarchy's central lineage. Assigning it to someone who would likely play a prominent role in the royal family's future demonstrated the Queen's foresight in safeguarding its symbolic value. Beyond the famous tiaras and necklaces, the Queen's will also highlighted items of private sentimental value. These weren't just expensive accessories, they were pieces that held deeply personal meanings for her. For example, her pearl earrings, which she often wore during important events, were reportedly left to a family member with whom she shared a close bond. Such decisions reflected not only her emotional connections but also her desire to pass on cherished memories. Each piece told a story, whether it was a necklace gifted by her father, King George VI, or a brooch worn during her coronation. By leaving these items to specific individuals, the Queen ensured that her legacy would continue to be felt on a personal level. The distribution of her jewellery collection inevitably led to comparisons between two of the most prominent women in the royal family, Queen Consort Camilla and Princess Catherine. Camilla, as the wife of King Charles III, inherited several key pieces that underscored her role as a senior royal and the future Queen Consort. These included tiaras and brooches that were historically associated with previous queens, symbolising the continuity of the monarchy. The Queen's decision to allocate these pieces to Camilla highlighted her recognition of Camilla's evolving role within the royal family and her importance in supporting King Charles during his reign. On the other hand, Princess Catherine, as the wife of Prince William and the future Queen Consort, was also entrusted with significant pieces. Catherine's graceful style and dedication to her royal duties have made her a beloved figure, and the Queen's choices reflected her confidence in Catherine's ability to carry the monarchy forward. Some of the jewels she inherited were not only valuable but also deeply connected to the Queen's personal history. For instance, Catherine was rumoured to have received a sapphire brooch that the Queen wore during one of her first public appearances as monarch. This gesture was seen as a way of connecting Catherine to the Queen's legacy and preparing her for her future role. The comparison between Camilla and Catherine naturally led to speculation about their roles in the monarchy's future. While both women received significant portions of the jewellery collection, their inheritances symbolised different aspects of the Queen's vision. Camilla's pieces reflected her status as the current Queen Consort, solidifying her place within the royal hierarchy. Catherine's inheritances, however, were seen as an investment in the monarchy's long-term future, emphasising her role as a bridge to the next generation. These decisions also sparked discussions about the Queen's approach to maintaining unity within the family. By carefully distributing her jewellery collection, she demonstrated her commitment to balance and fairness. Each piece was assigned with thought and intention, ensuring that no single individual dominated the inheritance. Instead, the jewellery served as a reminder of the family's shared history and responsibilities. The public's reaction to these revelations was a mix of admiration and curiosity. People were fascinated by the stories behind the jewels and the thoughtfulness of the Queen's decisions. At the same time, the distribution highlighted the complexity of royal life, where every decision carries layers of meaning and significance. The jewels weren't just beautiful objects, they were symbols of power, tradition and personal relationships. Among the many surprises revealed in Queen Elizabeth II's will, her decisions regarding her private art collection and rare manuscripts stood out as a testament to her lifelong dedication to preserving history and culture. The Queen's private art collection wasn't just a display of wealth. It was a carefully curated treasure trove of masterpieces by some of history's greatest artists, including Rembrandt, Vermeer and Canaletto. These artworks have been quietly passed down through generations, held outside the official royal collection and were an intimate part of her personal life. The Queen's decision to assign specific pieces of her private collection to particular family members highlighted her thoughtful approach to ensuring these works of art would continue to be cherished and preserved. These weren't just paintings to be admired on walls, they were pieces of history, each with its own story and place within the broader narrative of the monarchy. By choosing heirs who would appreciate their significance, she safeguarded the cultural and historical value of the collection. For instance, pieces that held strong ties to specific regions or events were often assigned to family members with a particular connection to those histories, reinforcing the bond between the monarchy and the stories these works represented. The management of these assets is no small task. These paintings and sculptures are not just about aesthetics, they require meticulous care to preserve their quality for future generations. Many of these pieces will likely remain in the royal family's private residences, while others may occasionally be loaned to museums or galleries, allowing the public to appreciate them while ensuring they are properly maintained. By doing this, the royal family demonstrates its commitment to sharing its heritage while also managing the practicalities of such valuable possessions. Equally fascinating was the revelation of the Queen's Library, a treasure trove of rare books and historic manuscripts that offer a glimpse into her intellectual interests and the monarchy's long history. Her library, amassed over decades, was filled with centuries-old texts, handwritten letters and illuminated manuscripts, each carrying significant historical and cultural weight. These items were not merely valuable for their rarity, they symbolised the continuity of knowledge and tradition within the royal family. Some of the manuscripts in the Queen's collection contained insights into pivotal moments in British and world history. Others were personal correspondences from past monarchs, preserving the voices and thoughts of her ancestors. By assigning these items to specific family members, she ensured that this knowledge and history would remain a living part of the monarchy's legacy. These manuscripts and books weren't just given to anyone, they were entrusted to those with a genuine interest in history and a deep understanding of their value. This choice underscored her belief in the importance of intellectual heritage and its role in guiding the royal family's future. The symbolic value of these treasures cannot be overstated. They transcend monetary worth, representing the monarchy's role as a custodian of history and culture. These cultural assets serve as reminders of the royal family's responsibility to preserve the past while shaping the future. They reflect the values of continuity, education and respect for heritage that the Queen championed throughout her life. The Queen's decisions about her cultural legacy also had a broader impact. They reinforced the idea that the royal family is not just a symbol of tradition, but also an active participant in preserving and sharing the nation's history. For many people, the monarchy's association with art, literature and culture is part of its enduring appeal. By thoughtfully distributing these treasures, the Queen ensured that this connection would remain strong. From a young age, Prince William was destined for an extraordinary role within the British monarchy. Queen Elizabeth II, aware of the immense responsibility he would one day carry, took a personal interest in preparing him for his future as king. Their bond went beyond that of a grandmother and grandson, it was also one of mentor and mentee. Over the years, the Queen shared with William the knowledge and wisdom that came from her historic reign. This preparation was not just about tradition, it was about equipping him to navigate the complexities of a modern monarchy. One of the most telling anecdotes about their relationship is how the Queen would invite William to Windsor Castle for sessions reviewing state documents. These were no ordinary family visits. In these moments, the Queen provided him with first-hand insights into her role as a constitutional monarch. Together, they pored over documents, discussed current affairs, and examined how decisions could ripple across the nation and the world. For William, these sessions weren't just lessons in governance, they were lessons in leadership, duty, and responsibility. The reading of the Queen's will amplified the weight on William's shoulders. It was not merely a matter of inheriting wealth or titles, he was entrusted with the responsibility of upholding the monarchy's legacy. The will outlined decisions that reflected her vision for the institution's future, and as her heir, William became the guardian of that vision. The Queen's decisions placed him at the centre of the monarchy's evolution, balancing the weight of centuries-old traditions with the necessity of modernisation. For William, the challenge is immense. The monarchy is not what it was in the mid-20th century. Public expectations have changed, and so has the world's perception of royalty. The Queen understood this and left behind a roadmap for how the monarchy could adapt to remain relevant. William is now tasked with continuing that journey, ensuring that the institution evolves while preserving its symbolic role in British culture and history. The reading of Queen Elizabeth II's will was not just a personal family moment, it was a defining event for the monarchy itself. The ripple effects of her decisions will be felt for years, both within the royal family and among the public. As the family absorbed the details of the will, reactions ranged from quiet acceptance to speculation about dissatisfaction. Each member's inheritance carried symbolic weight, and the division of assets revealed much about the Queen's vision for the monarchy's future. Within the family, the distribution of wealth and responsibilities could lead to realignments in royal duties. Some members received significant roles, while others were left with less. This could spark feelings of disappointment or even resentment, particularly for those who expected more. The Queen's decisions were likely intended to reflect the contributions of each family member to the monarchy, but they also underscored the challenges of balancing fairness with tradition. Inheritance disputes are not uncommon in families, and the royals are no exception. However, the stakes are higher when the future of an institution hangs in the balance. The will also had a profound impact on the public's perception of the monarchy. As details of the Queen's wealth and its distribution became public, they sparked renewed debates about royal privilege and accountability. On one hand, many admired her thoughtful approach to securing the monarchy's future. Her decisions demonstrated a clear commitment to preserving the institution's cultural and historical legacy. On the other hand, some critics pointed to the vast wealth revealed in the will, questioning whether such privilege is justified in a modern democratic society. This transparency brought the monarchy's relevance into sharper focus. For supporters, it reaffirmed the monarchy's importance as a unifying force and a symbol of continuity. For skeptics, it raised concerns about inequality and the role of royalty in the 21st century. The contrasting opinions reflect a broader debate about how the monarchy can maintain its place in a rapidly changing world. The will also highlighted the challenges of modernising the monarchy. The Queen's vision, as expressed in her final wishes, was one of adaptation and progress. She understood that the monarchy needed to evolve to remain relevant, and her decisions reflected that understanding. However, implementing those changes falls on her successors, particularly King Charles III and Prince William. For them, the challenge is not only to honour the Queen's legacy, but also to navigate a delicate balance between tradition and progress. For William, the task is especially significant. As the future king, he must lead the monarchy into a new era while respecting its storied past. The Queen's will provided him with both a roadmap and a reminder of the values she held dear. It's a challenge that will require him to build bridges between generations, embrace transparency, and find new ways to connect with the public. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.